All right. Welcome to On the Rocks with me, Jamie Wilson. We have a great show for you tonight. Can you imagine, guys? It's January 13. We're halfway through the first month of the new year, the new decade. And, things are getting a little hectic because life is starting to gear up to, probability to the return to the normal. I just came from a project up in the boondocks in a location because I always, I repurposed myself as a safety officer, and it's my first lock-in shoot where you have to preserve the bubble, right? And one thing that I did notice, when you're in a bubble and you are fully aware that these are going to be the people that you're going to be dealing with for the next, how many days you have. I had 6 days there, 5 days, 6 days. It was quite interesting because everybody was making an extra effort to get along, to be nice to each other, to be kinder to each other, to cooperate, to be more efficient. And I couldn't help but think that, if we all try to do that in our everyday lives, I think it'd be a better world to live in, because isn't the planet our bubble anyway? So that was just an observation that I had. It was nice to see people making a deliberate effort to be kinder and to be more generous and to be nicer to each other. And if we can just take that mentality, for example, and expand it in a sense where we accept that the world is our bubble and all we have is each other, I think I think life would definitely get better. And speaking of life getting better, man, thank you, liquor.ph. They've just sent me a brand new bottle of Evan Williams, man. I love this bourbon. This bourbon is a signature expression of this, renowned distillery out of the Bardstown, Kentucky, USA. So this is from Kentucky, man, where it has been produced since 1783. So these guys know what they're doing. This is the bourbon the way bourbon should be. If you like vanilla or caramel flavors with a solid peppery tingle in every pour, this is a great bottle to begin with. Think of this as a good starting point if you're into American whiskey and bourbon in particular. So thank you so much, liquor.ph, for sending me a new bottle. You guys can grab your bottle only at from our friends at liquor.ph. And of course, thank you so much, Buenos Dias Panaderia. They have a new thing that they have cooked up. Well, I don't know if it's been out for a while, but it's a new thing for me. I just saw it on their Instagram page. Not only do they have their amazing Milo buns and their black crinkles, but my God, man, they've got peanut butter and strawberry buns. So, guys, seriously, make your sweet tooth happy. Go visit their page and put an order down, because that's what I'm going to be doing as soon as this broadcast is done. I'm going to be ordering a box. Buenos Dias Panaderia will hook you up. So tonight's show is going to be interesting because we're talking to a good friend of mine. I've worked with him a few times. I've known him for a few years. And this guy is an international Broadway star. He's an international rock star. He was in Rockstar in Excess. He has released a full length album and a few singles, including a new single, which we'll be talking about later. And it's amazing because I remember the first time I met this man, it was for a play that was being done here in Manila, and they were flying him in from Broadway. And of course, when you're expecting the star of your show to show up, right? Because this guy was the star. You start wondering, okay, what's this guy going to be like? Is he going to be easy to work with? Is he going to be a diva? Is he going to be, all these thoughts start running into your head. And of course, when you meet this guy, you will notice that not only is an incredible performer, he's an incredible artist, but he's also one of the most genuine, sweetest, most wonderful, most generous people that I have had the good fortune to know. So I can't wait to bring him on and start talking about his music and the gigs he's been doing and his theater and shooting the shit about life in general. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mig Ayesa.
Hey,
Hey,
Jimmy,
guys.
what's up?
How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, this is amazing. So great to see you, my friend. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I do love you, Jamie. And that was the nicest introduction anyone's ever given me. I've got a
oh.
lot to live up to for that. So I'll pay you later for that one.
Well, you know what? Hey, We were all worried right before you flew in for Rock of Ages. We were all wondering, me, Jet Pangan, Noy Volante, Calvin Miller. We were all wondering, okay, how is this guy gonna be? Because he's on the poster of Broadway. This guy might have an attitude, and little did we know that you were a bugoy.
Hey, you know
And
what? The reverse is also true. I was flying in from New
true.
York thinking, now, what the hell have I got myself into? Who are these characters that I'm going to be dealing with here? Who is this Jamie Wilson guy? What kind of a name is Jamie Wilson for a Filipino anyway? I mean, honestly. So I walked
True.
in. I walked in, and you guys, from the word go, I thought, I think we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
And three
But
productions later, four productions if you count, Bridges of Madison County.
yes,
Man,
dude.
here we are. We're still growing strong, buddy.
And here
So
we are
Mig,
doing pivoting. Now this is the quintessential pivot, restructuring. I don't know what you call it, reinventing of
mhm.
us working together. Now we're doing this virtual thing. Oh my
Yeah.
god!
And it's
See,
great because hey, you're in Sydney right now.
I am. I'm in Sydney,
So
Australia at the moment.
so we're not worried about flying you in. I can just send you a link and here you are, buddy.
That's it.
I miss
Well,
I miss the hugs though. I miss the hugs.
man, I miss them too, dude. I miss the travel. I mean, there was a point there actually a few years ago. I was working on actually doing being a guest entertainer on ships. I was doing that for a couple of years, and I love the variety of that. I mean, to be honest, like at first I was scared about doing ships because I thought that's where performers go to die. That's the end of your career, and you're going to be doing cruise ships and singing the lullaby. We'll be making another run. And little did I know that it was absolutely awesome playing with these guys called the Tenors of Rock. And we were playing these amazing theaters in these incredibly brand new ships with state of the art stuff. So this is great traveling around the Caribbean and Bermuda, Alaska, and all the I said, hook, sign me up. This is great. But I was traveling so much and so many trips. Like I think one year I did like 95 flights. I counted. I said I wouldn't mind actually slowing that down a little bit. Duh. Careful for what you wish for.
Careful what you wish for,
I
man.
said slow it down. I didn't say stop. Oh my gosh, you're so excited now.
Well, everything stopped, Mig. So, I mean, how have you been dealing with this pandemic?
I'll tell you what, dude. Yeah, it's been a big learning curve for me too because I had this year, well, last year, 2020. I thought I was going to make bank. I had all these gigs set up, in the States. I was had all these cruise contracts done as well, and I was just about to. I was actually on my way to sound check for the first of a whole series of concerts doing the music of Queen with
Yeah.
symphony orchestras, and it was this.
Oh.
It was all around the states, and I was actually in Denver, Colorado. I was just about to go play with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra and a six-piece kick-ass rock band doing the music of Queen. And as I was about to leave the hotel, we got the call saying yes, the governor has closed Colorado. 3 hours later, I was on a plane back to New York, and that's it. Tapos na. Every gig, patay na.
Yeah, the whole year was canceled. But of course, we were expecting like when the news of the lockdown came out,
Hmm.
there was word about, oh, it's going to be a month. Oh, it's going to be a month and a half, at the most 2
Right.
months. So you had those gigs in the middle and the end of the year still holding out with hope that we're going to, it's going to happen. And then
Yeah.
when it turned into 6 months, you're like, nah,
No,
no, not happening, man.
and it just went from bad to worse, out of the frying pan into the inferno.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, I have to say that despite the fact of losing so many gigs and the tragedy that is this horrible pandemic that we're going through, I'm very blessed and very lucky that I started work with this company called Song Division, and they're a company that have existed for about 15, 16 years now. I started doing these events with them about maybe 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, these live events where we go into these conferences and we write songs with a company, for the company, about the company
Okay.
in real time. And in various degrees, whether we write them in a competition or something like a song slam thing, or we write them together, one anthem, a team anthem together, and it's kind of
Yeah.
a really cool, fun way of people to feel, some kind of ownership to the song, and and some sense of like fun. But we had to pivot very quickly. Our CEO in Maui, Andy Sharp, was very astute and said, "No, we're forget everything. We're going straight into virtual." And so we worked with Zoom to work a way of capitalizing on the audio capabilities and the video capabilities. So we came up with these programs that we translated from live events to virtual. And seriously, I've never been so busy in my life. I have not
Right.
stopped. I
Right.
have not stopped, to the point of like, remember those days where I thought, oh, I got to stop this traveling? Now I got to stop with this Zooming because it's killing me. But having said that, I've got to be grateful because it's really been a very successful pivot, very successful. The company has done very, very well last year. Um, Trying to make the most, like make lemonade out of lemons. And wow,
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of the company and very proud of the people who I work with. They're amazing people. So I'm blessed because I know that many people have been out of work. Some people are destitute. Some people have left performing completely, and that
Yeah.
breaks my heart. That breaks my heart when I hear people have said, "No, I don't perform anymore. I don't sing anymore.
It's isn't that
I don't make
isn't
art anymore."
isn't that the saddest thing in the world?
It kills me, dude. That's
It's
it's
that's our soul. That's what we do. That's the life that we have chosen. That's why when the lockdown happened, and over here in Manila, the government declared arts and entertainment non-essential industries. And we, of course, we banded together, we formed coalitions and all that. We got groups because I mean, there's nothing else to do. You're locked down at home, right? So we
yeah.
were discussing on how to make the government wake up and realize that just from the sheer revenue from the taxes that you guys are collecting from the entertainment industry, we
Mm.
are an industry that is essential simply because we help, keep the country running through the taxes that are incurred. Not only the taxes, but also just for the well-being of the people. Because when all of us were locked down, come on, man, everybody resorted to like Netflix, watching series, watching movies, listening to music, and hello, right? That's us.
And dude, in a world, really, in a world where we are so angst ridden and we're so down and out, we need things to lift us above this just
Yes.
existing. That's why the arts are more crucial than ever. I'd like to watch a movie, to listen to music now. I listen to it and I appreciate it so much more because it transports me, transports me away from this morbid reality. So let's be blunt about this. Let's keep it
Yeah.
real. This is not my dream. This is not the dream. This
this
is
is not.
far from the dream. Okay.
This is the farthest thing away from our dream, man.
Oh man. But again, I'm also the eternal optimist, Jamie. I think that this will pass. I know this will pass. Eventually it will. We just got to tread water and we got to do what we got to do. We got
Yeah.
to keep these podcasts going. We got to work with Song Division. We got to keep that ball rolling until there comes a time when we can actually go out and do some live gigs again. I'd love the
Yes.
balance. At the moment, it's computer. But having said that, this is awesome talking to you. By the way, this
Yeah. There we go. It's funny. We're talking to a lot of the musicians that I've interviewed, and even like off my show. When we got really busy and it was show after show and gig after gig,
yeah.
and we were feeling a bit run down, and we were like, oh, do I accept this gig? Maybe I want to rest and all that. All that has changed because once live gigs can come back, it's going to be such an explosion of creativity, of energy, of all this pent up energy that we've been storing. Now even if you take, even not the musicians, if you take it down to just normal people who said, no, I don't feel like going out tonight, or I'll pass on that cup of coffee with a friend. Now you take every opportunity, at least when the world gets back to normal. But there is, you're right, we have to maintain that sense of hope, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. We're able to go out. I mean, you were able to fly to Sydney. I'm able to go out here now, of course, with the protocols, sure, but at least we're getting back to a semblance of normalcy. And
Or and also a way of coping, dealing with it. There are
yes,
under the
yeah,
factors. You learn to be smarter about doing things. There are certain things I know that are going to stay, despite whatever happens. There are some things that will always like now be like people can realize, oh, they can achieve so much by just doing it virtual because it's cheaper and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to spend thousands, hundreds of thousands on hotels and venues. We can just do it, which
like
is
this.
absolutely fine, and that makes perfect sense. It'd be nice to have that balance. I just think life is full of those balances, and at the moment, it's all. But I think what scares me, Jamie, is that we're all this pent up energy. We're all sort of stuck here in this isolation thing. When they finally say it's done, we're good, it's all over, there's going to be a party that's
Oh
going to
yeah.
go around and I think that might even kill more people than the virus itself. More people will die at that party from heart attack, overdose, alcoholism, jumping off,
Dehydration,
dancing
you
to the
know.
dehydration, just excitement. Some people will just combust, just spontaneously explode, just because of excitement. And there's, so I'm just saying, there could be
Well, th-
a bigger. Just watch. Just be careful. Anyway,
well, if that happens, I want to play that party. I
me
want to be
too.
playing
Me too.
that
If
party.
it's if that's how I'm gonna go, then see you
That's how
later.
I'm gonna go. Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
So,
That's
so,
poetry.
so, Mig, you've repurposed yourself, with this company, composing anthems with people and everything. So you're just a working musician, aside from your theater stuff. Pre-pandemic, you do a lot of concerts and you compose a lot of music. You have your own setup and all that. But I want to find out how you got to that point. Um, so when you were growing up in your household, what music do you first remember actually listening to or grooving to?
Oh man, my brother actually had the entire Beatles collection on cassette.
Wow.
Because whenever we'd go to the Philip, like we'd go to Manila, and tapes are really cheap back then in the 80s. Really cheap, or talking about even the 70s. I'm going way back because I'm I'm of that age. In the 70s, like if you buy tapes and records in vinyl in Sydney, they're expensive. Even in those days, they were like, $20 and $30, something like that. Whereas in the
Wow.
Philippines, it would be like, $2, $1 for a cassette and everything. So we went nuts. And my brother made sure he's a bit of a collector. He collects stamps. He's a bit OCD like that. Anyway, collected every single Beatles album. And so that's what I would first listen to. And I just fell in love with everything. I knew every Beatles song backwards and forwards. But then also, I actually, when I was younger, I developed a stutter. I had a stammer as a kid from about when I was 5 years old to about 7 years old.
Okay.
Um, so what I would do, whenever I would sing a song, or whenever I would say like lines from a script or of something, I'd stop stuttering. I wouldn't stutter. And so for me, the only time I actually felt like normal or felt like felt like I was not um, special child or whatever with and speech impediment was when I would sing. And so I played the piano so I could just accompany myself because no one, I couldn't get people to play for me. So I wanted to play. I wanted to be Billy Joel. I wanted to be Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
I wanted,
yeah.
I wanted to like play piano and sing, and that was all I wanted to do. So, um, but of course I had to do classical music, and I wasn't very good at classical music. Even my piano teacher said to me, Miguel, you will never be a concert piano player ever. He's like, what do you mean, Sister Tuxedo? What do you mean? You're crushing my dreams of playing Carnegie Hall. I never wanted to be a concert piano player, but a friend of mine's father was a jazz piano player, and he suddenly showed me those little letters on top of the stave. Those little
Hmm.
letters, they're like the E, G, the C. What are they? Ah, that's a chord, a C chord, D chord. What's that? Well, it's an interval of four, an interval of three. That's a major chord, and an interval of three and a four. That's a minor chord. And if you add the seventh chord, that becomes major seventh. It's just the one before it. Like, and suddenly, all these, like, it was like the Matrix. It all made sense. It all went.
Yeah.
I can see. I can see what it's about. So from that point on, it's like it all made sense. The keyboard suddenly went. It became. It no longer just sort of this like dots or anything. It became pictures. It became fluid. It became love. It became passion. I could see it. I could feel it. And from that, it was just like writing songs, playing songs. Just give me any song. I was hungry. Give me a Stevie Wonder book. Give me Billy Joel book. I got a Hall and Oates book. I had a Barry Manilow book. Okay, okay, I did. I had a Barry Manilow book.
Hey, no judgment, man. We all love Barry Manilow.
It's fine. It's fine. He writes the songs that the whole world sings and everything. But you know, but dude, I was just hungry for anything, and that's how I basically fell in love with music. It was my stutter basically just disappeared after a couple of years. I cured myself from that.
And so when you started, when you started accompanying yourself and it all made sense and you started, achieving your dream of, playing, singing, your stutter went away.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see your future as this? You just wanted to keep on doing it. Did you have any plans? Did you think of like, okay, I'm gonna get to this level of as an artist, as a musician, or were you just one of those guys who just kept on doing it until you got to where you were?
No, I had great dreams of the more I played the piano, the more I wanted to be an Air Force pilot. That is no word of a lie. I wanted to fly an F-18. I know when I was so excited when I was an air cadet as a kid. I was with the Australian Air League. I was a cadet for Auburn Squadron. And I wanted to fly an F-18 because I thought that was the coolest thing. But I realized when I was getting, actually to the point of actually joining the Defense Force Academy and everything like that, I realized um, I may actually have to be asked to kill somebody or press a button,
Yeah.
drop a bomb. Would I be able to press that trigger? Nah, I said no. There's no way. There's no way I could do that. I mean, tell me to do it, and I'm like, no, I would not be able to live with that decision. So I thought I'll just go to university and see what happens from that point. And I've kind of fell into performing. I never thought. I mean, I've always played in bands. I had bands in high school, garage bands. I had a band called Sokatoa. Um,
Sokatoa.
Sokatoa, which is trigonometry. I'm so nerdy. It's trigonometry with sine. It's trigonometry. Sine opposite over hypotenuse, cos adjacent over hypotenuse, tan opposite over adjacent. That was a little code. Sokatoa. That's the name of a band. Yeah, we're so. Anyway, um, yeah. Don't laugh at me.
That was,
No
that was
judgment, Jamie. No judgment.
that, dude, that was so much math in 2 seconds. I got a headache.
I know.
Like,
I told you I was geek. I was becoming an Air Force pilot. I could possibly become the first Australian astronaut at one point. It was like, yeah, no, that wasn't going to happen. But I love doing bands and playing bands. I played in a band called Randy Badass and the Slick Master Five. I was Randy Badass. We had all these different names for people in the group. We had a keyboard player. Her name was Chocolate Milk. We had Herschel Happiness
ooh.
on bass. On guitar was Seven Up. On the drums, his name was White Bread. Oh my god! Oh my, that was actually probably one of the funkiest bands I've ever been in. I miss those guys, man. I still play with Carl Dimataga and Steve Mawson on bass, and Andrew Mawson. Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. Um, in fact, Carl Dimataga is a Filipino Australian, who I
Okay.
wrote a lot of songs on the album more than ever, and he produced my album for me with me.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So with your aborted foray into being a jet fighter pilot,
By the way, my name
now,
is Mig.
yeah, yeah, I know, yeah,
See,
but I
see?
prefer this MiG rather than a MiG who might press a button and fire a missile at people. I
I
can't imagine you flying a plane.
no.
I've seen you backstage barely able to manage your costume changes. All right. So I can't imagine you flying a multi-million dollar weapon
Yeah.
of mass destruction.
Yeah.
But I can imagine you like Iron Eagle having your soundtrack while you're taking off. You know what I mean? I can imagine that. But you can barely manage your costume changes backstage.
But the costumes are so tight. Costumes are so tight. I mean, come on. Could barely put my
Hey,
toe in. Could barely put my toe in those jeans.
yeah,
And also,
but that's part
actually,
of
the
your
buttons are so
contract.
small.
But that's part of your contract. All your costumes. I've seen your contract. I was the assistant director. All your costumes have to be tight, and there has to be at least two scenes that you take your shirt off, no
Oh,
matter what the play. No matter what the play. So I've seen this. I can imagine you flying a plane without your shirt off. Without your
well,
shirt on.
yeah. There.
Well,
Anyway,
it happens. It happens.
it
Okay, but
happened.
since you
That's a different
mentioned,
story. We're not going there. Mom could be watching this. So
all right, we'll go there later. Hi,
yeah.
mom. Hi, Tita. If you're watching. All right, so since you mentioned it, let's go into more than ever. And you know what? I remember you first giving me my CD when you arrived here, and yeah, the cover is you as an anime fighter pilot, and I'm like, it's very strange when you receive the cover art influences what you expect to listen to. And
Right.
after giving it a few, I love a few songs in your album, and I've told you this before. I just want to go through a few songs and see if I can get the stories from these songs out of you.
Okay.
And the first song that really hits me, of course, is "Nothing You Do,"
Ah.
and it's a kick-ass rock and roller, you
Mhm.
know. And how did that come about?
Oh man, well, I actually wrote that with a friend of mine. We were in London. He's an Australian guy who I did Rent with when I
Hmm.
did it in Sydney and Melbourne. Jonas Stewart, and he just said, "This is the thing." Okay, he said, "Let's set ourselves 1 hour. And let's get a song written in an hour, done, complete." I said, "Fine,
Wow.
do it." So within 5 minutes, we basically had this done. We're good. We spent the best 55 minutes just jamming on this one song that we'd written. It kind of wrote itself, and it's one of those songs that is just kind of like he just presented a riff, and I just sang it. We just wrote the words. We didn't even hardly. It just happened. So it was
It's
kind
just
of like I love those things when that happen, and it was a song that basically it's a credo of my life. No matter what people say to you or what people try to bring you down or try to stop you from being you, at the end of the day, you can't stop me because I will be me. I will do my thing.
yeah,
Nothing you do can stop me. I'm an eternal optimist. It sounds like a kick-ass, like heavy rock song, but it's actually talking
yeah,
about actually being a super optimist and like everything's cool. That's what that song's about. It's actually a really positive song, and even though you can't take away from me my dignity, but nothing you
yes,
do can stop me feeling high. It's not about drugs. It's about feeling high. It's not about
yeah.
being high. All right. So
But
that's
that's 5 minutes, man. 5 minutes you took
pretty
you
much
wrote that down. That's
it.
amazing.
It wrote itself, and Jonas will attest to that. It was like we spent. Then we had another. We said, okay, that was so good. Let's spend another hour writing this next song, and we'd never finished that next song. We're still writing it. We're still writing it, and that was 16 years ago. Okay, so we're still writing that one. But the first
Well,
one,
lightning may not strike twice, but as long as it strikes once,
there we
that's
go.
then you get a kick-ass song out of it.
Electrified.
Yeah, baby. And then you go into okay, so I want to talk about high this time since you mentioned, about feeling high and being high.
Seems to
But
be a
your
little bit of a
song,
common theme going through my songs. I may be incriminating myself by talking to you, Jamie Wilson.
well, it's all right, man, because it's just on the internet. It's just gonna last forever. You know what I mean?
and no one's watching this, right?
No, no one's really. It's just
You and
you
me,
and me,
Jamie.
man.
You know what I mean, man?
It's just you and me.
All right,
So
okay.
okay, so high is such. I think it's such a good positive feeling. When I first met you, I listened to your album, performing with you and everything, and I think that's what really brings out your generosity because basically you want people to feel good, and not just feeling good in a very general sense, but I think you like people feeling good that they can be themselves around you,
That's
and
it.
that does shine through your music.
Oh,
And whenever I'm talking to you right now, whether it be face to face or virtual, I think it always shines through about it. You always like to make people more comfortable and be feel good about being themselves. So how did high come about?
that's beautifully
Because if
said,
you if you
Jamie.
if you tell me if you tell me you wrote this in 5 minutes, again, I'm ending this broadcast. I can't stand talking to geniuses.
No, no, no.
You know?
Probably this one took about 7 minutes to write. So this one I wrote with Carl de Mataga. He was actually the Philippine Aussie I was telling you about. He was 7 Up in Randy
Yeah.
Battis and Master Five. Okay,
Okay.
um, and he just had the chord progression, and I was like, and the song came fairly quickly like that. But we were just wanting to write about love. It's really about how you feel about when you kiss someone that you absolutely in love with. What's the feeling of that first time you kiss someone who you have been infatuated with? You know, it's more than a high. It's more than you can't get that high. It's
Yeah.
that's the pinnacle of a human experience. When you kiss that person who you absolutely want to devour,
Yeah.
that moment, it's a you'll never replicate that first kiss anyway. The first one's always and
That's
you want
magic.
more.
Yeah, that's the
You can
magic.
get better, but the first one's always different. It's like that first. Yeah, that was it. So that was the thing we wanted to capture. Yeah, sugar, honey, sweet. I'm talking about what is it about something that what's your favorite things? That's what love. That's what high is all about.
Fantastic. And it's right, that first kiss is always, it can get better. But you can't ever duplicate that first kiss because there's always that sense of there's that longing, that sense of devouring that you've always been, your desire and all that. But there's
It's like
also that feeling of slight awkwardness. How are you gonna pull this off? Is she gonna pull away? Am I gonna get slapped? You know what I mean? There's that apprehension as well, and I think this
yeah,
song captures this. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's that it's that trying to as everything that is awkward and that beautiful, wonderful. I would call it, it's a beautiful mess because you
That's
just
it.
basically fall apart because it's so good and so like mind blowing, and you can't believe you're actually doing it. And it's
I
like, wow,
think I think I think that those two words would be a perfect T-shirt for you, man.
a
Beautiful
beautiful
mess.
mess.
Yeah, and then you can take your shirt off.
I do. Geez.
And
Yeah,
then, okay, so I want to talk to you about my favorite track, which is I've told you this before. It's the perfect driving track, which is funny because I don't even drive, but I can imagine this song being in a car with the top down and carefree, no set destination, and that's summer feeling. I
ah,
I love I
right.
love summer feeling because that immediately I'm in the car when you put it on from the get go. I feel like I'm in the car. The
Yeah,
top is down. You're
yeah,
cruising,
that's it.
and all your worries are just melting away. Now, did this take 5 minutes, 7 minutes, or 8 minutes?
This one took at least 15. This was a bit more involved. This one, this one I wrote with a guy called Luke Dolahanty, and he's an Australian prodigy. Like he's a young guy, amazing guitarist. He was living in New York at the time. He's actually a bartender of a bar that I was playing these open mic nights in New York City in 2009. I think I was when there was no work around because of the recession. Right, there was.
Mm.
So I was just playing in this Australian pub down in Soho called 8 Mile Creek. I brought my little keyboard around. I told the bartender, I said, told the bar owner, I said, you need to have live music in this bar. And he said, should I? I said, yes. So Thursday night, I'm going to come down. I'm going to play for you. He said, okay. Well, that was sort of developed into every Thursday night became, and by the way, the bar was on Mulberry Street. Okay. So
Oh.
it became the Mig Man on Mulberry Street. Bam,
Hey.
da, 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 da. Not the big man on Mulberry Street, the Mig Man
Yeah, the Mig Man.
on Mulberry Street in New York, and it started to have some kind of following every Thursday. Musicians would come in, they'd bring their congas or their bongos, or they'd bring the guitar or the saxophone, and we'd have a jam session. It just grew. It's one of those really awesome things that you think, I started this, and it's really something really cool. Like you're starting this thing, like the bands that you've started, and it becomes it has its own energy, and that's what
Yeah.
that was. And Summer Feeling was actually written with Luke, who was the bartender of this bar, and it was that feeling of like when we were in the middle of this year, and there was not really much work going on, but it was just a sense of like, what else do we need in life? We've got each other, we've got some music. We're earning a bit of money. I'm getting free drinks at the bar because he's the bartender.
There, yeah, there. That's all. That's always good. That's always good.
I had my girl. I had my place. We had a dog. Eh, It's okay. I kind of, in some ways, that it's kind of a thing that when we get out of this pandemic, that's a song that I hope people will listen to again, because you got to have that summer feeling of
Yeah,
just freedom. That's what it's about. That song is about freedom.
yeah. Freedom and
Freedom with a little bit of a country meets AC/DC rock vibe.
there you go. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. I love that song.
Well,
And
thank you.
okay, and then the next song. All right. And this is probably this really hits home for me, because for your longing, for your desire, it's the direct opposite from Summer Feeling in terms of the vibe and the feeling of the song,
Mm.
right? And that's I Need You Here.
Ah,
And my God, I mean, when you play that, you immediately feel the isolation. I mean, listening to it before and listening to it now is completely different context, because, a lot of people are still alone in isolation during the lockdown and all that. And it
mhm.
provided different context from I Need You Here, but it's got to be the most tender, longing, but semi-anthemic song that I've ever heard. How
Wow.
did how did this one come about?
Ah, this is yeah. This one was a special song. This one was a special song. Again, I wrote this song with Carl Dimitaga, and it was just a situation like we were in his garage in Sydney, and it was about 3 in the morning, and he said, "All right, like just," and this he set it up. He's an awesome guy to write with. He's a phenomenal guitarist and musician. And he said, "Okay, now you're imagining this situation. Uh, what is it? What's it going through your head right now as far as a romantic situation and feeling what you want to talk about, and what's playing through your mind?" And I basically said, well, I looked at the time, and it's it's so and so. Didn't realize how mesmerized. All I could think about was how much I missed someone at the time. So
Yeah.
all I was like, this is the only thing I want, is I need you right here. That's the only thing.
And then it took off from there.
Yeah. Um, and and it was almost like, I just don't want you to leave ever. So the whole point of like, whatever we do, if you could just stay with me, and do nothing. It's almost like the whole vibe of like, if I lay here, if we just lay here, that sentiment of just like, just be, just be with me. That's all I want. That's all I want. And the rest of the world can just keep on going. This We can stay here tonight until we call it a day. So basically, yeah, I think that's one of my favorite lines I've ever written. Can we stay here tonight till we call it a day?
And it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
such a beautiful song.
Thank
And
you.
this was like what, 17 minutes, 18 minutes,
I think we worked this
with
a
the
little bit
right
long.
setup.
We wanted to get this one right. This was a special one. We wanted to,
Okay, good,
yeah.
good, good, good.
But
I won't
it
have
ain't.
to end the broadcast because if you keep on saying minutes, I'm like,
Uh,
oh, that's not fair. That's
no,
not fair to the rest of us mere mortals who have
oh
to
no, no, no. Well, no.
toil on these things.
There are some songs that I have been writing now for like 20 years and I still can't finish it. So it's not that. There's, and it's with song division, we have to write a song really quick. We don't have time to think about it. We just, first thing that comes to your head, that's a song, right? And there it is. And sing it, boom, there it is. You don't have time to second guess yourself. But I am the king of second guessers. I think that's why I love actually collaborating with people. I love co-writing. Collaboration for me is much easier than writing um, for with myself because I always feel like, is it good enough? I don't know. Is it? I don't know. And if someone can say, "Dude, that's a great line," is it? All right. Well, puede
Maybe
not.
let's
Okay.
keep it, right? Maybe we should keep it.
We should keep that. And if they can sing it back to you too, that's always a nice to have literally a sounding board.
Yeah.
I don't know, you sing it to me, and they may put it in a way that's different to how I imagined it when I first wrote it. They go, "Yeah, this is what," and I say, "Oh, it's better than I thought. I'm a genius. I'm amazing. How did I come up with that? Ah,
I'm fucking brilliant.
amazing, man, amazing. How did I ever do that? I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. Sometimes it's like I channel it. It's like divine inspiration. I don't know.
Well, lightning strikes, and with "I Need You Here," you're right. It's a very special song, and as soon as you hear it, you know it, and that alone should really make people like just sit down and listen to it because it's gonna,
Thank
like
you.
you said, it's gonna get you through the night. I think.
Well, and we also we didn't want it to be super schmaltzy. That's why we kind of did it in kind of like it's like it's like a chain doing six
Yeah,
eight time and right, so it's just kind of like it's just sort of it cruises on. It's sort of like a folky kind of thing, so you don't think about it too much. It's just words that come out. It's rather than being a deliberate deliberation of like I'm being romantic here. No, no, no. It's just an honest. No, it just this. I just don't want you to leave. Can you
yeah,
stay? That's really the vibe. But it
yeah,
also I think that it works. I think I've done this a couple of times where you just play the chords and you kind of I don't know, you be a bit dramatic with it at the beginning and that works too. Anyway, I am I am talking too much about my own songs that I love, so it's kind of embarrassing. But I appreciate that you appreciate it, and
I
that I
appreciate
hope
it.
other people. I hope other people do. Anyway, that's why it's taken me so long to come up with another album, James, because it's been so long since that one. But I kind of like I got a little bit disillusioned because when you write an album, you think, oh, it's awesome, and I'm really proud of it, and then for some reason, and I was going through a really weird time with I was going through like divorce and everything like that, so I kind of lost my mojo in how to promoting it. So I kind of had it suddenly, and the carpet was pulled from underneath me, and I didn't really feel whatever, and I regret that because then I kind of just I dropped the ball, right? So I just use it as a kind of like a bit of calling card, and I use it for a Christmas card to slip it in. Hey, good luck tonight. Here's my CD. Have a look. That's kind of it, really. And it's not that I've wanted it to be a multi-million seller. I just wanted more people to listen to it. That's all. And
Well,
so next time I want to do something, I want to make it be a bit smarter about doing that.
but yeah, I mean, for your promotions and touring it and more people listening to it, there are things that I believe, like for example with albums and music or some works of art, that it takes some time to gain traction.
Mm.
And if it, like, I'm looking at the comments section right now, shouting out to Alec, to Raya, to Lisa
Oh,
Del Valle,
dude,
these
dude,
guys,
dude!
these guys.
I didn't even. I didn't. I totally was looking at private chat, and I thought, oh, there's no one putting anything in. I just
No,
realized
see,
I got
there's
caught.
hello from Sydney, from Violi, Calvert. We are staying
Hey,
up for
he
our
said,
idol, the one and only Mig Ayesa.
yeah.
Right?
Lisa, Alec, Ace.
And
My,
yeah, Ace was asking me like 2 days ago,
he's a
who's
real
big.
Stacy guy.
Yeah, he didn't want to believe that you were actually going to be in the show, and I'm like, yeah, it's going to be Mig. So Ace, this is proof. Okay, I wasn't lying to you. We released a poster and everything, so you got to believe who the guest is going to be.
Veronica, Raya, Lisa, Alec,
Birthday. Yes,
oh,
ladies and gentlemen, it's Mig's
Bernice.
birthday. So happy
Yes,
birthday, Mig.
thank you very much. It was
And
the 12th of January. There you go. But yeah, thank
and
you very
and,
much,
and
Tony.
like if you scroll through the comments and you see the appreciation of your songs here, from certain people out there, it gains traction in certain ways. People There are people on our comment section that are quoting your lyrics right now, and that's gotta mean something more than more people who listen to it or promoting it and making it, like, huge and all that. These are people who are quoting your lyrics back at you, Mig, and that's got to be the best thing.
Hit the nail on the head, Jamie. And I love you too, Bernie. Bernie, get better already, or else
Mm.
I'll kill you. Um, uh, yeah, for me, that is the dream. I mean, it's not about selling stadiums, but if I can
Yeah.
be one of the greatest moments, I think was at a really small gig at in Sydney, and I was playing a little gig, and there was a girl who was in front of the stage, and I was playing original, and she was singing my song to me. Now
Right.
I was like, I didn't even know this girl. I've only played this song like twice in this gig, but she obviously really loved it and came back and sang it to me. I was like, that made my night. So everybody here who's doing that, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys being so supportive. I have the best fans in the world, by the way. They're freaking awesome. I love
Yes, 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 they are. And
very loyal.
I'm also very thankful that they've sort of adopted me as well. So, like, thank you guys, because it's great to belong to a
Hey,
community of people who
hey, what
appreciate music. You know.
Jamie Wilson? What's not to love, huh?
Oh, I can give you a
What?
list.
No, dude. By the way, the you doing a gig with the Blue Rats probably some of my favorite gigs of watching music ever.
Thank you,
Seriously,
thank
dude,
you.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you play live again with the Rats.
I remember the last time when we played, you brought your mom, and she didn't want to
Yes.
leave. You and your brother are like, okay, we've paid the bill and we're gonna go. And your mom's like, you guys go ahead. I'm gonna finish the set. And I was thinking, you two young boys are such losers because your mom wants to stay out late.
Yeah, I know, I
Your
know.
mom's cooler
Well,
than the both of you.
dude, I called my first band out of a trigonometry phrase. So I'm just let's leave it at that. And I listened to Barry Manilow. So there you go. Um, uh, so, but yeah, I remember that it was a great night. You killed it, and my mom was had the best night ever. But that's what that's what I love about music is that it's ageless, it's timeless. If you just let it overtake you and you give into it, surrender to it, you can't help but feel like it's transporting you.
Yes.
That's why we need it at the moment. That's why we need music. We need art. We need beauty. We need something to transport us out of just existing. Because we can eat, we can work out, whatever we can, but it's not living. It's existing, and you know,
And you gotta find.
we need to find some kind of more inspiration. We need to find some life. We need to find some beauty, whatever it is, singing in the shower, finding new songs, things that move you. And even if it moves you to cry, even those things that make you, it's so sad. The songs are so beautiful. It's sad that you cry, but you're feeling something. And to knock yourself out, to feel out of that numbness, I think we've all sort of grown into this sense of numbness that's the new norm, trying to just block out how many people are dying from this pandemic, how many people we lost in another year, what things are happening right now. You know it's happening in the United States with everything. You
Ah,
just try to have this numbness, and something that can slap you in the face and go, damn it, wake up, feel this,
well,
pow. That's
speaking of slapping you in the face and giving you a sense of hope or giving you a sense of direction, your latest single, Found My Way, that for me is like a ray of light. That's the light, at the end of the tunnel. Because I mean, like, how many of us, through the course of 2020 have had to rethink not only the way we do business, not only the way we earn a living, but also the way we are, right? And with this Found My Way, your latest single, it's all in there, man. It's all in there. So
Yeah.
when this is something that I'm just gonna be, playing on repeat on Spotify, because
Well,
it gives me hope. And hey, it's like having you in my living room.
well, it's funny you should say that because this is for a project for a Philippine company. Can we say that? Can we talk about it? Can we
I
do that?
think I think well, it's been released, so it's on the title. So I think
Okay,
we
well,
can.
we've been sort of sponsored. It's like it's Jetty. I mean, they
Yeah,
wanted to do this thing where they're looking at artists to put together songs that sort of that they can use, and it's basically they just said, what's a sense of freedom, and what's a sense of like now, that's all you had to give me. That's the brief. So the song isn't really written about Jetty per se. It's written about freedom and what it means to be on the road and to find your path. And you have someone, a companion. In this case, it is this company. But it's about having someone that you can trust, your best friend with you, and
yeah,
know that as long as you have this person with you, you can move ahead and you can follow your dreams. You find your way. It this was a song that actually also wrote kind of itself pretty quickly, I must say. It was one of those things that, and it was more an aspiration of like, when this is over, how is it feeling? Like you get in the car and put on Summer Feeling. I want to get in the car and I want to put a song. What is this kind of a song that I want to be
yeah.
in the car when I'm driving into the sunset? And this came into my head, and so I'm really excited about the song. I'm so glad that it's now on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever good music is streamed. And um, and I'm also, yeah, actually didn't even know that it was out until Billy told me, yeah, it's already out. I'm like, oh, great, because anyway, I'm very excited. So I hope you guys like it. I'm gonna say, people in the comments, go and listen to it. It's a new Mig single. Awesome.
Yes, yeah, and
But,
it's an awesome song. And
okay.
what's brilliant about this song is that you can take it in so many ways. I mean, the brief was, yes, freedom. How do you feel like, how do you want to feel like when you're in the car and all your worries are, melting away and you're with your best friend? But you can take it. There's a universality in this song where, people who have lost their way. And I think that's how I had been listening to it, because that's what happened to me during the pandemic. I lost my way. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I found myself just stunned at home, going, "What now?"
Yeah.
And this song, hearing this now, when I have sort of found my way navigating through this crisis that the entire world is going through, this song has it in. So it there's a universality in it.
That's you again, Jamie. You're so astute. You hit the nail on the head. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's the inspiration of the song. Is like the sense of freedom. Leave like this whole sense of the darkness that we felt, and the sadness we feel. Like yet when if you have that opportunity to hit the open road, to find the freedom to go your own way without restrictions. That's what I wanted to write about, and that's
And
what the song is about. And
that's how it hits home, you
and
know?
Alex Polito says, having someone with you on your journey, the knowledge that you are not alone, it keeps us going.
There you go.
That's Thank you, Alec. That's the nail on the head. Thank you.
Right, Alec? Alec, that's the most amazing thing. When you know you're not alone, then everything becomes a little better, everything becomes a little easier, and we're all going through this together. And that's what, our brilliant friend Mig Ayesa just sort of like, put together in 3 minutes. And it probably took him longer to put on his boxer shorts to write this song. You know, these geniuses, I swear. There's a comment. Can we flash that comment again, Miss Hampers? Mig, you are great, whether it's the Dominion or a small intimate gig. Miss seeing you live. And
Lisa
yes,
Sargent. Oh my gosh, Lisa, how are you, my sweetheart? It's great to see. Great.
Lisa, can I just tell you? Can I just tell you the pressure of being on the same stage as Mig? I'm a big guy. I mean, you can hide two Mig Ayesas behind me and you won't see him, right? Once you get on the stage with Mig, we might as well be background. We might as well be, paint drying on the set because
You,
this man's energy that he brings and his passion that he brings. I have seen him in certain shows when we were doing Rock of Ages together. When like in every theater production, some mishaps happen. Some things that you don't predict will happen. And only Mig can turn into, only Mig can turn a potentially, a wonderfully tender but funny scene as it's written into stunt work, where he was inside the cubicle of the toilet, right, in Rock of Ages, and he's singing to Sherry, and the door wouldn't open. The door locked, and he couldn't open it. So you see Mig trying to obey his blocking because he has to get out there and make out with her, right? As rock stars often do. But he had to get out of the cubicle. So you have Mig climbing the door as he's singing, as he's acting in his cowboy boots and really, 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 really tight pants. And we're all there in the wings going, "Oh my God, he's doing it." Of
yeah.
course, we were all worried about the door. We were all worried about Mig's safety. Do you think Mig thought about that? No, I just got to get out of this cubicle.
Just jumped. It had to be done. It's
Yeah,
yeah. Whatever it takes, Jamie. You know that. Whatever it takes. The show must go on.
yeah,
And
man.
also, I knew that Ace was just was side stage. He probably already had his Stacy Jacks outfit on. I think he already wore that underneath his blacks. He just had to rip off his shirt and pants, and he was ready like Stacy Jacks. So Ace, you are not alone. I'm all. There you go. Ace was Stacy. He was ready to go. I mean, go.
Right, Bernice? Bernice is on the feed now. I remember that show. I was freaking out as the stage manager. Right? We were all freaking out. And I think that was the show where everything went wrong. The car didn't happen. The cubicle we got locked
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Microphones were messing up, and then we all realized that it was because we had this huge altar to Calvin Miliado backstage. And I think the night after that, we took it down because we like playing pranks on our fellow cast members. And Noy
Especially
Volante,
Calvin Miliano.
of course, especially Calvin Miliado. And I think Noy was the one who set up that altar, right? And we
Yes.
were like putting offerings and all that. And then, as every theater has ghosts, right? The click track. Yes, Ace, the click track. Oh my God, that messed up as well. So
Uh,
we like playing tricks, and us setting up an altar to Calvin, back, with photos back in his, like half naked album days and stuff like that. We were all just laughing about it. But every theater has ghosts, and I guess the ghost said, "Hey, cut it out."
yeah, we took down that one shrine to Calvin Miliato. I think we were good from that point on. But yeah, that was
Yeah,
a lot
everything
of
went
people.
really well.
A lot of people are saying they were there at that show. Alec remembers that. I think Raya said it. Yeah,
Yeah, Raya says that too.
I
Um,
climbed, not fell. My memory. Yeah, actually, yeah. But it's good. It's okay. I did not. No rock star was harmed in the making of that motion picture.
extra challenge with obs. Yeah, it happens in live theater. But okay, so I've got a little tidbit for you guys who are watching now. This is how the universe works in really funny ways. Because since we're talking about Rock of Ages, I remember me and my wife went to Broadway, and
Gold says, "Don't mess with the ghosts."
don't mess with the ghosts in the theater. So Gold, my wife, right? I had never heard of the show called Rock of Ages. We were in New York, and she's the one in charge of getting us tickets, and she got us tickets to Rock of Ages. We actually have photos in front of the big poster where you were a blonde Stacey Jacks. And I'm like, this is like what kind of wacko musical is this? You've got glam rock songs in a theatrical setting. So what's going on? So I go in there, and it's an amazing experience because from the get go, when you buy your ticket and you're, waiting to be ushered in, the bar is open. So they're encouraging you to drink
Oh yes, they
during
are encouraging
this
you.
show. They're serving you jello shots in the theater and all that. And I
Totally.
watched this show. I was completely like, I fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. And I was telling myself, you know what? I want to play Dennis Dupree. If we ever stage this in Manila, I want to play Dennis Dupree. That's the role I would go for. And do you realize, Mig, a year almost to the day, we opened in Manila together for the
It's
first
great.
Rock of Ages.
Yeah, yeah.
And that, I mean,
Careful, careful
we're
for what
living
you
proof.
wish for. Exactly.
We're living proof that dreams come true. They may not be the same dreams you come in with, but
Ah,
right,
they
you
still
know,
rock.
yeah, they still rock, man. And
Uh-huh.
so Stacy Jacks as that role, what what are your favorite moments as Stacy Jacks? Because you've played this in the US tour as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and in
Well,
Manila.
okay. Well, there were
Because you're so not like that in real life. You're so not like that. So it must have been so much fun
so much
to
fun.
do
So
these
much fun.
things.
I got to do those things that I didn't have to apologize for. I mean, some people get impeached to do the things that I was paid to do. I didn't have to pay anybody off. It was I was paid. I was the one paid off. I was Stormy Daniels. Let's put it that way. Um, so this was it was so much fun. I got to do play out all my rock star fantasies and still, um, you know, still. My mom was still talking to me, and it was okay. And um, so yeah. There are several moments. Of course, there was that moment in the Philippines where I jumped into the cubicle and smashed the door open with my foot just in time to say, "Gotta take a little time." Um, that was one of probably the most memorable moment with Rock of Ages when we toured Los Angeles in the U.S. tour, and we were at the Pantages Theater, and we had a special guest, a guy who was playing me, Stacy Jacks, in the
Mhm.
movie. Is a guy called Tom Cruise was in
Ah,
the theater, and Adam Shankman, the director, they'd just done the first reading of the around the round table at the studios that day, and Tom had never seen the show, so Adam Shankman, the director, took him and Katie Holmes to the Potato Theater and saw Rock of Ages, and we were told, no, just do the show and don't try to single him out, don't do anything, you know. Of course, there's a moment during the show where Stacey Jacks actually walks from the back of the theater
mm,
and is drunk during Every Rose Has Its Thorn, right? And I normally pick out someone who I didn't fall into their lap. And they had safeguarded Tom Cruise in every possible way. No, there was the row in front of him was completely empty. The row behind him was completely empty. Had Adam Shankman either side of him and Katie Holmes, so he was kind of like protected.
yes.
That's so they thought. This is all. I sort of made a beeline for Tom Cruise, and basically, I tackled him. I basically fell on top of him, and then as I was climbing up, I'm sort of climbing over Tom, like putting his face, and I'm trying to over, and basically looking and saying, and he lost the plot. He was crying. He was so like they and but the producers were horrified. They were like, what is he doing? Oh my God, we are so sued. We're so screwed. This is the last show. We're done. The movie's never going to be made. That's it. We're done. But Tom Cruise loved it. At the end of the show, he came backstage, and um, when I finally got out of my wig and makeup, etc., came out to see him, and he said, "There he is." And I go, "Hey, it's like looking into a mirror." And he was the sweetest guy. He was super, super sweet, down to earth, and he was very reflective with all the comments. But yeah, I'll never forget that. That was really cool. I enjoyed that.
That must have been so much fun, just like messing with somebody they thought they protected, but
Yeah,
Nobody's safe with Stacey Jacks around.
Well, he was also Maverick, and I am a Mig. I mean, see what I
Here
did
we
there?
go.
See what I did there?
Yep,
So
yep. I
have
see what you did
fun.
there.
I'm a Mig. Oh, that Mig behind me, got Mig in front of me. He Migs on top of me, literally.
But that role must have given you license to do, like you said, everything that you know you would normally be sued for, jailed for.
It was.
And
I got away. I got away with a lot. I mean, I don't think I could possibly do that show now without a Me Too movement calling me in, and I'm having to go to court to explain myself. Um, but that was all in the role. I mean, that was it. But it was debauched.
there's a comment here from Tina Reyes. Okay, she told you that when she saw the movie again, that he stole some of your Stacey Jacks moves, and I totally agree, Tina. The first scene where you see him walking in, he's in that fur coat, and
Yeah.
he's completely shirtless, and he's walking around like that. I'm like, when I saw that, I'm like, that's fucking Mig. That's Mig's walk right there.
Well, that's Mig after the show at the bar after Jamie has given him 7 Johnny Walkers.
But
That's
yeah,
not Stacey Dax. That's just Mig.
I could see so many, even the way Tom Cruise was handling the bottle of Jack Daniels in the movie. I'm like, yeah, that's how Mig handled his bottle when he was playing that drunk scene. I'm like, the guy stole your moves. I,
I
I
mean,
should watch the movie again and see if you're on the credits at the very
I would,
least.
I'd like to believe that maybe I inspired him a little bit, but he did a great Stacey Jackson. He's super cool. It was a thrill to meet him. He's absolutely top notch guy. There you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, he seems like a great guy. I mean, like considering everything that he's done, right? But really, how many Hollywood stars can actually say that they've gotten the up and close in your face Mig treatment, literally in your face, you know
Literally, I basically gave him a lap dance. That's it.
and that's his
Oh,
takeaway.
gold. Thank you. Oh, sweetheart. Thank
I
you. And
agree. I
but
agree.
Lisa says there's only one Mig. Yes, there is. So
There should
thank you.
only be
Thank
one. There
goodness.
should only be one Mig, because seriously, if there are more Mig Ayesas in the world, we'd all be in trouble.
Oh, there'd be lawsuits all over the place. There's not enough lawyers in this country to
All right.
to
So
protect
okay.
you.
So rock musicals, Mig. Rock musicals. I mean, Rock of Ages was our first experience together, but you also did this. This very small musical. Using the music of Queen, called "We Will Rock You,"
Oh yeah, that one.
and oh yeah, just that little.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Just a little one. Just a little one. How just a wee bit. How did that happen for you?
Wow, this was, I think, for me, this was the turning point for me, because we had just moved to London, and you know how you just saw We Will Rock You, saw Rock of Ages on Broadway. So I got to play that role. Well, the first show I saw when I went to London, I was the first week I was there, was We Will Rock You, because I wasn't sure if I even wanted to do musical theater at that point. I was just like, I don't know what I
Yeah.
want to do. I want to be a songwriter. I wanted to get a publishing deal, write songs for people. That's kind of
Yeah.
where I thought I was heading. But then I sat down. We had the very back row. We got the cheapest seats, and we were at the back row of the Dominion Theater. And I was watching the show, and it was Andrew Derbyshire actually playing Galileo at the time. Amazing voice, but I was so jet lagged that I actually fell asleep until I fell asleep until I woke up to another one, Bat to Dust. I'm like, yes, I love it. Yeah. So I missed sort of half of Act Two. I really apologize for that. But after I left the show that night, I said, you know what? If I was to do one show and one other musical in London, I'd love to play Galileo in We Will Rock You. Well, funny enough, a few months later, there were auditions for We Will Rock You, and they're looking for an understudy for Galileo because the original guy Tony Vincent was staying. And I was kind of like, I've been this understudy before. It's been kind of a bit of a heartbreaking situation. As you know, you can be there in the wings for so long and never get a chance to do it. It can
True.
be more damaging than it is inspiring, you know. So, but at the same time, my agent said, "Hey, this you never know. You know, they could be looking for a replacement, whatever." Anyway, I said, "Okay, I'll go for it." I was doing Rent at the time in London, and I, where I was living was in southeast London, and and I had to be at the Dominion Theatre for my audition at I think 9:30 in the morning. So I had to leave Plumstead at probably 7:30 in the morning or something like that, because just to get there, because I just want to be early. But because I left so early, I couldn't warm up in the house because
Yeah.
my wife was still asleep, and our flatmate was asleep. So I'm like, well, I can't sing on the in the bus. I can't sing on the subway. So I just thought, I'll be fine. 9:30, singing "We Are the Champions" on the stage in the Dominion Theatre
Oh my God.
in front of just the assistant musical director and the assistant director. So it wasn't even, and I sat there and I went, oh, I sounded terrible, Jamie. I screwed up. I sounded like a strangled cat. And they rightly said, "Oh, thank you, Mig, but that'll do. We don't need to see anymore. We're good. Thank you." And I was devastated. I went home with I thought I totally screwed that up. I know I can do this, but I didn't show them I could do it. My agent then called them up and said, "Oh, yeah, Mig would like to just have another chance." And it was the musical director said, "No, we're good. We will pass on Mig. We don't need to see anymore. We're good." I was, I had to see, I had to make sure that I saw it. And this is where the story gets really interesting, because a night later on, um, Brian May came to see Rent with Brian May, the lead guitarist of Queen,
Yeah.
came to see Rent with Mike Dixon, who was the actual musical director of We Will Rock You. And when I told them that I was auditioning for Galileo, they said, "Oh, you should audition." And I said, "Well, I kind of screwed up my first audition." And they said, "No, well, woo." They thought I was, I played Angel in Rent, by the way, nothing like Galileo. Okay, a
Yes.
transvestite and you know teenage angst rock star is quite different. But whatever Brian May saw in my stilettos, he said, "No, I think you should definitely audition." Well, I said, "Well, I screwed up my first audition. I couldn't, I'd love to have a second chance." Oh, we'll see. Anyway, my agent spoke to Mike Dixon. Mike Dixon said, "Yeah, Brian said you can come in. So just come in for the final round of auditions. We'll speak to you then." So anyway, it was about 10:30 in the morning for my audition, and for this time, I really made sure I warmed up, and I didn't care that I woke up everybody in the house. I screamed
Yeah.
my guts out for an hour. Ah! I walk into the stage of the Dominion Theatre, and there's a panel of 15 people.
Oh.
Brian May, there's Roger Taylor, the drummer of Queen. There's Ben
Oh.
Elton, the writer. There's Pippa Alien, the casting director. There's the choreographer. There's other assistants. The producers are there. There's Jim Beach. Uh, what do they call him? Miami. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
They're all there and watching me like this. And I sang "We Are the Champions," and I sang it for Jesus. It was like, it just get me through this. I needed to just give them everything I got. So I closed my eyes and I just basically bled in front of them. And I got the part. Thank you.
There you
Mig.
go. The universe said no. He can do better. Let's put him back in. Let's send Brian to Sir Brian to watch you in Rent in your stilettos and say, you know what? Let's do this. And that's really, luck, serendipity, the universe meant to be. These
Yeah,
things all play a factor. That's why I love doing what we do, because how many times have we landed in a spot where we never thought we'd be?
that's right.
And
And how
go
many
on.
times do we also get told, "Oh, it's not going to work. Don't do that. Don't give up your day job. Nothing you do will stop me feeling high. I don't care what you do to me can take away my dignity. Nothing you do can stop
There
me
you
feeling."
go.
There you go. There it comes again. That's it. Like, no, you just gotta, and you never know. Like, that hasn't worked since me trying to badger the music director or my agent trying to get me a second audition since. But I've tried, because if you can work once, you can work again. But
Yeah. Well,
That's
you were so from We Will Rock You. Let's discuss another play we were in, where you played another rock star, and this was an original written with you in mind. Um, and I'm talking about All Out of Love.
all right.
Air Supply. And guys, okay, just a little tidbit. All right, when I auditioned for All Out of Love, I had no idea what I was expecting. I actually missed the first audition because something happened. I couldn't make it. It's something personal. I couldn't make it, and then they called me back for like in your instance for the final auditions, and I was actually supposed to play Raymond Concepcion's part, who was the big record producer instead of the rival. And when we booked it, when after my audition, when we booked it and all that, it was actually we were in rehearsals for Ang Huling El Bimo in Resorts World, and Air Supply just so happened to be there as well, doing a concert.
Yeah.
And so we did a press con in the morning, and we got to know each other. We were introduced, and et cetera, et cetera. And Mig scored me some tickets to watch the show together. And Mig being Mig, of course, he's going to go backstage and talk to the guys, right? And he drags me along. And I have, I've just gone from because you went home after that morning press con. You got to sleep. I had an 8-hour rehearsal. I was exhausted.
You were
But of
doing
course,
like three shows at a time or something.
I know.
Okay.
And it was such an amazing concert. We had so much fun. And Mig drags me backstage. And we were in the dressing room and we're chatting with the guys from Air Supply. And I'm like, I did not think this is how my day was gonna end up. So I was quiet, they were drinking their wine, I was having my beer and all that. And just sitting there with Mig and the Air Supply guys. And I was very quiet because I was like, I didn't want to interfere, right? And one of them turned to me and it's like, Jamie, why the hell are you so quiet? And I'm like, fuck, in my brain, I was like, fuck, man, what am I gonna say? And I realized, well, I like hearing my seniors, because I'm younger than all three of them. I like listening to my seniors, talk about the music industry, and they're like, fuck you, get another beer. And that's what I knew. Okay, I'm in. you know?
Oh, the crazy thing about that night, which was awesome, is that well, I thought that Jamie and I were just going to come in. We're just going to say a quick hello because they're Air Supply. We just come in quick, polite. Thanks for the tickets.
Oh,
Nice to
yeah.
see you. We're going to see you at opening night for our show. It's going to be great. Bye. Have a nice tour. Bye. And we sort of walk out, and they were like, "No, don't leave. Don't leave.
Don't leave. Let's
We
have
got
a few drinks.
we got another bottle of wine. Stay. No, seriously."
I
I
felt
mean,
so I felt so guilty because we were there for like a couple of hours talking to them.
dude, they ran out of wine.
Yeah,
We
like,
drank them out of wine, which was awesome.
and then when we stepped out, we saw the line of people, like the people from the producers end and everything, all waiting to see them get their program signed or whatever. And they see me and Mig coming out drunk because we drank all their wine. Right? And
They're
they're
walking
like,
out like Stacey Jacks.
they were just shooting us some really evil looks.
That's right. The Russell Hitchcock and Graham Russell, very sweet guys who I'm
Wonderful
still in
guys.
touch with even now, and they're just real people, and yeah,
And so tackling
great.
tackling that role, tackling that role was kind of difficult for me because your role was named Jamie.
Well, they had you
So
in mind when they wrote the role.
so when people were, when our director was yelling, okay, so Jamie goes here, and I'm like, what? That's me. I'm not in the scene. Oh, it's the other
Uh,
Jamie. So we had to
yeah,
modify our brain sets. But
that's
that must have been something so. I mean, for me, it was definitely exciting because we had an opportunity to create. We were the first ones who were doing
that's
this
right.
show. So that must have been a massively different exercise because of all the freedom that we were given
That
from
was
taking on like Stacey Jacks or
well. That's yeah.
Galileo.
Well, that's always a bit of a dream for me, like because the shows that I've done, I've kind of taken over as someone who's already originated the role, and I'm kind of like stepping in and
Yeah.
taking over the role. This is the first time that actually it was this world premiere production. So wherever it gets played, they'll have a list of the first cast, and you and I were going to be on that. It was just a
Yeah,
really big honor for that. I know the show needs to be reworked, and it's going to be rewritten in some way, respect, and whether we get to be a part of that next production, I don't even know. But to have that experience and do the world production, have Air Supply there, see their work as a musical and a
yeah.
show first time, have that experience, that connection, that was special. Create something with those, beautiful director and choreographers, and it was symmetry. We weren't out of love at all. There was so much love in the room.
There was so much love in that room every single night. And it was amazing because when we were talking to the air supply guys, right? They were just like it was their dream as well. So a lot of dreams coming true in one production. It was there because they basically started out in musical theater. They met each other in Jesus Christ Superstar.
That's right.
So
That's
I
right.
was like, wow, so they had a theater background, and that's how they met each other. And then they decided, okay, we're not going to do musical theater because it's not for us. Why don't we write songs? And then they became Air Supply. So it was
Yeah.
their dream come true, and we were just the guys on stage, making those dreams come true. So it was such a strange thing to hear from them
Yeah.
that their dreams came true and we were part of it. You're like, what? This is my dream come true. You know
And
what I mean?
I missed telling that story at the very beginning, that also when I was stuttering and I would get these piano books, I also had an Air Supply book.
There you go.
I would,
There you
play,
go.
um, here I am with those memories. That's they helped me with my stutter. They were my speech therapists. There you go.
Another thing that about the All Out of Love show, Mig, there was a point and that we would cross over backstage, and this was halfway through Act One, and I would be done because I had a few scenes in Act One, the top of Act One, and then I'd be done. And Mig is running, and if you've been to Resorts World, it's a really big theater, so Mig's running or walking fast to go to his next cue, and I'm just there sauntering because I'm done, and he would always like, fuck you, Jamie, because he had like 15 more scenes in Act One, and like
think
I
I
can't
actually,
believe you're done,
I think I actually did say every time, "Fuck you, Jamie." That
Fuck
was a
you.
thing. It became a thing every
And
night.
I'd be like, yeah, I'm done for Act One. Let's not even go to that story where I had to tape your pants back together with you in them.
Oh,
I
okay. That's no. Maybe we should, because that story is. I've never told anyone that story. But you can trust someone when your pleather pants, plastic leather, fake leather pants, disintegrates into shreds in the middle of a show, and you haven't got the time, or we don't even have a alternate pants to flip on, and we
we
have a
didn't.
whole scene, we have a whole act to do. What do? I, I grab some duct tape and I walk into Jamie's dressing room and I say, "Dude,"
And that's all you actually said,
that's all I said,
dude.
"Dude," and I turned around and I showed all this whole gaping hole. I'm like, "Dude," and he went, "Turn over, bend over, assume the position," and that was it. He taped me into my pants. So I was literally held together by duct tape that whole night. I was thinking, just don't do any sudden moves. Don't do any sudden moves.
And I must, yeah, yes, Tina. I had to tape Mig's pants while he was wearing them.
Yes. Tape.
If that could be a job description, you would have a line around the corner for people who would apply for that position. But I was the man at the right place at the right time.
There's nobody else I could ask to do that. Of course, maybe Ace. I could have asked to do that. I could
No,
would have.
see, Ace would have gone on stage for you. See, that's a different
No,
thing
I can't do it.
altogether.
I have to go on stage for you.
So I had to tape him back. That's exactly what I said. Assume the position, and Mig immediately knew what the position was. So communication skills right there. We were all operating on the same level, and I had to duct
Uh,
tape him into his pants.
yeah.
You know, because he'd have to see. Tina says, "I take the job," right? I could have fielded that out, I could have made some extra cash. I could have like, outsourced, every night.
We literally had 3 minutes for you to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
the
we
thing.
yes, we did.
I didn't use like,
And you made your cue. You made it.
yeah, we made it. We made it.
You,
Hell, the
you know,
pants are
taped in.
disintegrated by the end. It just made it at the end, and basically I fell off. I went off stage, and it just went, it disappeared. It
But
melted.
these are the moments. That's why you gotta love live theater and live events, because these are the moments that you can never plan for.
So true. So
And
true.
these are things that just happen, and you still make your cue. And it was completely acceptable because Mig was playing a rock star. Of course, a rock star wouldn't worry about ripped up pants. He duct taped them together and walk on. So he did it as if nothing wrong happened. He was walking a little funny because I think I taped it a little too tight.
I think
He
I
was
was
walking a little.
I was a bit sticking. Some anyway.
But
Uh,
you played all these rock stars, right? Which are amazing and larger than life characters, like from Angel to Galileo to Stacy Jacks to Jamie and All Out of Love. The
Jamie,
one role, the one role that really I feel that I had the privilege of working with you in, that broke the mold, the rock star mode, was Robert Kincaid in Bridges of Madison County. And I still have, sometimes occasionally when I put on my Broadway playlist, I put, that's part of my playlist. Your last song in the end, when you're just sitting down and you're looking at the photographs, that last song. And it really annoys the shit out of me because it's not you singing on the Broadway soundtrack. I'm like, that's not how it's sung. Sing it like Mig sang it. And I don't know who the fuck is singing it on the Broadway soundtrack. I don't care because that's how the way it should be sung is how you should sing it. That was an extreme departure, Mig. And
it
how
was
did that happen for you?
well, and that's funny you should say that too, because of all the shows that I've done, if people say to me, ask me, what would you like to do again, um, without even batting an eyelid, I'd say yes. Play Robert Kincaid in the Bridges of Madison County because it's a work of art. The music in that show is so beautifully written, and the show is so beautifully crafted. I mean, I didn't expect it to. When Bobby Garcia said we're going to do Bridges of Madison County, and I didn't even hadn't even seen the film at that point. I didn't know what it was about. And what's the movie? I thought they're going to make a musical out of this. I listened to the song.
Right? You're like, what?
What? Why? And I listened to the music, and the music just it catapulted me, and I was like, I'm in. And I do love the voices on the soundtrack, but I couldn't sing like that because it's an operatic thing, which it's not really my vibe. I gave it my thing, um, and I hope I gave it justice. But I would love to do that thing again, and singing with Joanna Ampil. I mean, oh my god. But I tell you, one of the joys as well was that the cast, there was you, there's Nino Alejandro singing, "Oh my Lord, where I was going, where I'm going, where I'm going." That's that song.
Well,
Um,
we got to that was a dream come true for me because finally in a Broadway musical, I got to sing the blues. So
oh,
two worlds collided for me. But my God, I mean, I was the assistant director for that, and I had a lot on my plate because I was also acting in it. But I would always take that moment towards the end of the show, and from the very beginning, even before you started singing, when you're sitting down and you're looking at those old photographs, that song, I would be in tears. And that's every show. It's different because a lot of people, our audiences see the show once or twice. I the beauty of working on this show was I was there from the beginning and I saw how you put it together.
hmm,
And I saw every show that you did that moment in. And every moment you would bring something different every night. There was a little tinge of a different color, perhaps. So it was never the same way twice. And that's what made it so fresh. And that's why I cried every night. Every time I'm in the wings, waiting for the last number. So for all of us to bow, and I'm there, imagine me, big guy, 6 foot, 250 pounds, just bawling my eyes out, watching you create that moment from scratch every night.
Well, I'll tell you, I was so blessed, and so lucky that it was actually all I had to do was just look at Joanna Ampil and follow her lead. She was the driving force behind that show, and all I had to do was just go on her journey. That's all I did. I just held her hand, and when the thing that I love about acting is, well, it's more what you don't say. It's how you listen rather than what you say. And there was so much that Joanna was giving me that all I had to do was just soak that in. Hopefully, you soak her genius, the way that she played the role, like she was so connected in every single way, every single step, that it was actually as challenging as it was also one of the easiest roles to play because it was
Yeah.
with her. Um,
Your duet, "Come with Me." Oh,
mm.
so it's that just for us, it was weird because how it was staged. If you never saw it, to our listeners today, we were the ensemble. Basically, the rest of the cast would always be on stage watching this love story unfold, and we would be in chairs positioned and all that. So we would have a you know closer than the first row seat in these scenes happening, and the chemistry and the energy between you and Joanna were so palpable that I remember mentioning this to Carla Guevara, La Fortesa, that I said, with the energy between Joanna and Mig, if we can tap into that, we wouldn't need our electrical company here in the Philippines because we could just plug directly into their energy and it'll power the world. You know,
it
that's
was,
that's how it was. It was beautiful.
well, it was again. It was I'd seen Joanne Ampel in Miss Saigon in Sydney like years and years ago, and I'd met her. I think I even met her at her place. She had a party with the cast or something, and I was there and partying. Um, and but it was just what working with her. I was just like, wow, she's one of the Philippines' most incredible performers, and you just got to. I know. I'm so lucky. I was lucky. So anyway, I wish we can do that again. I wish we can do it
Oh,
again.
I would love to do that again. I would love to do that show.
Because if you haven't been, if listening from out of the Philippines, when they do the shows in Manila, they only do it for like 4 weeks. That's
Yeah,
kind of how it runs.
yeah.
That's a general average, right? 2 weeks. So, and it's not every day too. It's just sort of like in the weekends, sort of like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So there's not that many shows to get your fill, so to speak. And so I was just starting to feel this thing, and I was just like, okay, now I'm in my groove. And it closes, like, ah, man, it takes that long for me to get warmed up, and you feel like you sort of, okay, now I'm inhabiting this. And it was a beautiful place. It was like, yeah, that world that Jason Robert Brown had written is just incredible.
And again, Mig was not playing a rock star. He was playing a photographer, very low key photographer who was going around in his pickup truck, you know. And because I suspect that it's in Mig's contract, right? We still had to find the scene where he had to take off his shirt. So I see a running theme here.
uh,
And we actually had people because we blocked the scene where he took off his shirt. He was by the water pump and he was, hot and bothered. And, he had to soak a towel or soak his shirt in some water and wipe himself off because the scene it was hot, right? And we blocked it on stage right, if I remember correctly.
yeah.
We had audiences coming back because they had bought tickets for stage left. So we had a whole group of people who went back the next after we opened, went back the next night and deliberately bought seats to be on the stage right area just so they can be right in front of Mig doing that
Oh,
scene.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Sorry, Mig. I mean, really, it sells
hey,
tickets. It sells tickets.
it's in the play. What do you do? It's actually even written in this in it's even written in the script. It's actually there. So it's not me, right? But hey, let's move on, Jamie. Let's move on.
Oh, come on, man. I
Getting
love
getting
needling. I
very
love. I
what do you
love
call it?
needling you
Stop!
about
I'm
this.
getting
Yes, yes,
getting
Raya, it's true. People were coming back to buy tickets to be right in front of that scene.
and it's yeah.
Serious.
And Lisa was saying, yeah, photographer as using. It's one of the things about doing this show as well. Like, I love photography, and so like it was like a
Yes.
photographer and playing a photographer. Like when I go on photo shoots now, I'm singing Robert Kincaid songs. I'm sorry. It starts with a light. It's like
Yes.
look, just there, all that. I goes into my head. Oh, it's like, oh, you're looking for. There's a scene where we did a. Okay, I don't mean to be so self-reflexive, but you know that we did that sitz probe, right? And there's a
Yes.
one of my favorite lines. It's sort of hidden within just a little small little bit, but it's Jason Robert Brown's writing at his best. It's like all you didn't know that you were looking for was just outside the frame. I mean, it's written in like a 7/5 time signature. And it's like if you try to count it, it won't work. You just have to sing it and trust that it'll fit.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to just listen to it and go, okay, it's like, oh, and I remember like when you nail it and all the strings are playing at that syncopated rhythm and and it all comes in sync. It's just, I love that moment. And I know I appreciate you and Nino because, and that line of people at Sitzprobe, when I did that line, Jamie looks at me and goes, yeah. And so he got it. He got it, that feeling because that was of all the show that little phrase in a little small between scene song was one of my favorite bits. That's Jason Robert Brown, and he's just little pockets of genius. That's why I love that show. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
And that's one show I would in a heartbeat drop everything to do again.
Yeah,
I absolutely
come on,
love
let's do it again. Let's do it again. And that set was beautiful. The design, my Faust. I mean, just beautiful. I think the design I think was with those industrial globes and the way it lit it was just poetry. That whole production, Bobby Garcia, I think it just nailed it.
that's where I earned my degree in set changes because it was a free flowing set.
Yeah.
So every morning before everybody would come in, I would call the cast in early just to rehearse the scene changes because there was no you couldn't see any crew in this show. The cast was the crew,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we would have to set up. I remember in one rehearsal when she had that song, flashing back to Italy, right? And
Yes.
so I was trying to prepare for the scene change, and Bobby says we're going to Italy, and I'm like, how the fuck are we going to go to Italy? I don't see any set pieces that say Italy, And
Yeah.
then I find out he was just messing with me, and then he messed with me again because he said, "Okay, Jamie, after Italy, which was just a bench, it was just a bench for the
Yeah.
Italy scene for the flashback, but then we had to go back to the kitchen scene,
Yeah.
right?" And Bobby tells me, "Okay, but Jamie, when we go back to the kitchen scene." I want it facing northeast. And I'm like, so of course you have to take your director seriously, right? So I pull out my compass. I pull out my frigging compass, and he realizes that I'm taking him seriously. And he's like, Jamie, I'm just kidding. And I'm like, well, you have to tell me these things because I have to take you seriously. You're my
And
director.
you would have done it. You would have succeeded. You would have found a way of like,
I would have figured out a way how to do it.
and
You
there it is.
know?
Well,
Now the
ta-da.
kitchen's back, the sun is over there.
Photographer's done. And pen drop. There
I wish. I wish.
we go.
Okay, so Mig, there are a few people on this on the thread who are just asking. Okay, Rockstar in excess,
Okay.
Rockstar in excess, and seriously, I didn't even know you then. I watched the show. That was one of the first reality shows. The rock band. But a rock band that I absolutely loved, and I seriously think that you were the best fit for it. But how did you even get your foot in the door into that?
Wow, that this was just one of those. I don't know. I was doing We Will Rock You in London at the time, and I had just signed my contract for my third year in the show as Galileo. I loved the show. I didn't want to leave the show. We just had bought a place, a 2-bedroom garden flat in North London. We had a new puppy. Life was great. And then I heard about a show that completely would change my trajectory, and turn my world upside down. I heard, hey, they're looking for a new lead singer of In Excess. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I'll give it a go. I'll, I'll give it a go. You never know. Um, and just purely because I was really interested, because I loved In Excess, so I was kind of like, I want to just see what happens here. I don't really want to leave We Will Rock You,
Mhm.
but sounds really cool. I auditioned at the Shepherd's Bush Empire. Went there with my friend Simon Pinto, and he played guitar for me. I played, I Send a Message, and I think New Sensation. Um, and funny enough, there was Kirk Pengilly, who I had a friend. Was a friend. It was a boyfriend of a friend of mine, from way back in the day. And he says, Mig, I said, Kirk, how are you? He says, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm trying to get in your band, mate. He goes, oh, yeah, cool. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I get a phone call saying, Mig, you made it to the finals. So you come back and sing a couple more songs. I'm like, okay, this could be weird. So went back, sang a couple of songs. And then I get that phone call 2 weeks later of like that they normally film these days because it's part of the reality show. It's like, dude, we are going to fly you to Hollywood, to Los Angeles. You had made to the final 50 for Rockstar in Excess. So you have 2 weeks of intensive auditions and psych test analysis and everything like that. They're basically going to just put you through paces for 2 weeks. Um, and I just signed my third year contract for We Will Rock You. But it just so happens that I had a couple of, like, I had holiday owed to me. So I took my
Mhm.
holiday that time. And also, I didn't even know what was going to happen. I just took the holiday and didn't really tell them what was happening. I just said, yeah, I'm going to be in this. Here I was in LA for, like, I think it was like 4 weeks. And, 2 weeks? I can't even remember now. Anyway, I made it to the final 15. The final 15. There were 15 people that made it to the show. So out of 50, that 15. And I said, I've screwed it. Now what am I going to do? How am I going to tell people in We Will Rock You what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
I looked at my contract, and I had actually changed the contract that's to say that, uh, I, I, if there's an example of doing some film or TV or recording that requires me to leave my contract, all I have to do is give 8 weeks notice, and I can be released from my contract. Well, it just so happens the day I arrived back in London, I look at the date, and the date that I have to be back in LA to start the filming for the show is exactly 8 weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to basically put in my resignation that day as soon as I got back. So it was kind of pretty stressful. But I walked into work and I went, "Hi, I have to go," and they couldn't stop me, and they didn't want to either. Brian May was super super nice. He says, "Mig, I will try and stop you, but I don't want to stop you because I want you to follow your dreams, and I want you to take this and see what happens." And in a way, we'll see what, because if things don't work out, maybe you can come back here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I didn't expect my job to be waiting for me when I got back. I didn't expect that, but it started me upon a trajectory from where there was no escape. Ruined my life. What was I thinking? What did I do that for? Why did I leave London? Why did I do it? Why?
Well, because the universe was telling you, here, come here first.
No, it was great. Well, the thing was, it opened a lot of opportunities for me. There's still opportunities that are still saying, "Hey, weren't you in that show?" Yes, I know. But I have to be grateful for those things. These life changing things. You have to go with the flow. You never know where it's going to end up.
Yes.
Um, but same thing now with when you pivot you're trying to figure out, how the hell am I going to navigate myself out of this swamp called coronavirus pandemic. You just find a way, and this
Yeah.
is what we do.
Yeah.
I'm still found my way until you
Yeah.
write a song that says,
There
"I
you
finally found my way."
go.
Found my way. There we go.
And
I
you
love
guys,
how we segue back into that, and we're back in the room.
and we're back in the room. And really, you got to download that single. You got to play the hell out of it, because really, if You know, if it helps you find your way, then that's all you need, really.
That's it. Well, I hope people do listen to it. It's really cool. I'd love to be able to play that live. It's, unfortunately, it's a bit of a record in your studio and record with, by yourself kind of vibe. But yeah, it'd be a really nice song to take out in the open road. But hey,
Soon, man.
where is it?
Soon.
Can I plug one? Can I plug one thing? Can I plug
Go
one?
for it. Yeah, of course. You can do it anything you want.
Before I found my way, I also wrote this song for Performing Arts College in Long Island, called Three Stage Studios. And Laurie Ann Davis, who runs the school, was so despondent about how kids were feeling so anxious and had no answers and were scared about the future, that she came up with these lyrics, and she said, "Could you put this to a song? We want to make a song that can help them, like inspire them to feel that we'll get out of this, and this will pass, and we'll become bigger, better,
Strong.
stronger
Yeah.
from this experience. So we just have to learn from the lessons, and we will come out of this, and we'll be great when we come out of this. But there will be an after this." So kids at the time, at the time when we were starting working on this, like, the United States is, even now, is still like in the midst of this pandemic, and there's no way out at the moment, and we can't see a way. So I put this song together, and that's also on Spotify too, and that's also, I think, on Apple Music and all wherever good music is streamed. It's called "Bigger, Better, Stronger." So now, if I get a chance to download two new tracks, see, it's taken me a long time to get new material out there, but now they're coming in little bit drips and drabs. It's
Bigger,
just,
bigger, better, stronger. So that I didn't realize that was a story behind it. In terms of, that's why you had children on the track. You had a kid singing with you and all that.
yes, there were
Um,
all these kids are from the performing arts school, Three Stage Studios. They're all singing on it. So I basically wrote the song for them, and they nailed it. And it's them, it's their voice wanting to be heard, saying, I please help me. I need to find out where I'm going to go with this, but I'm going to get out of this. We're going to be bigger and better and stronger. So
and
that's
again,
it's again, it's an inspiration to get out of this. We're all in this thing because we're all suffering. There's no one here can say that they have not been affected by what's been going on. We're,
and again,
we're
again, a message of hope.
There you go, because
Because
that's what we need,
what
and that's
what
why,
doesn't kill you makes you stronger and
and
bigger,
and, and
better.
also, if people say that the arts is not an essential service, this is something to go, oh yeah, well, what's going to help people try to find their way out of this situation if they haven't got hope? So that's what we need to find.
So that's two new tracks from Mig. So for everybody, the pen drop. For everybody asking on the thread when we can expect new music, this
So,
is it.
there we go. There you go. It's a necessity is the mother of invention. There we go. So, but I still want to get the new album out. I've been working on this stuff for so long, and
Well,
and
let's do it, man. I mean, you have all the time now.
no, I
Yeah,
don't. I do
no.
not have all the time. Song
Well,
division is all my time. Song division is all my time.
you got to make some time then. Tell them,
You're
okay, wait.
you're absolutely right. Well, what's nice is that I'm here in Australia. I'm actually working two time zones at the moment: the U.S. time zone as well as the Australian time zone. Now the Philippine time zone, and I've just did an event for Dubai, so that was four time zones in the one day. Um, I need to sleep soon, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah, but Meg, at least you're working four time zones. But at least the main difference from you doing this in the past that you didn't actually have to fly there each
That's
time.
true. That's true.
Because
Having
if you're
said
following if you're following Mig Ayesa on his social media, all right, there were years where where in the world is Mig? Because it's a shot of another, outside of an airplane window at another airport.
that,
There was a year where, yeah, you mentioned that earlier. You had like 93 flights in a
95.
year, and 5 flights in a year, and you're just like, wow, man. You know,
Insane. It was insane. And as much as you think that was really tiring, it actually, there was a point that I used that time traveling to actually, not time traveling because that's a different thing. I used that time while I was traveling, to just log out, and just de- disengage, defragment. I
Yeah.
couldn't be contactable. And so it was a point for me to just have that moment to just have a zen. As much as I
Yeah.
was on a plane with a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, it was still me zenning out, right? But now, in the situation where we're always like, we can go from basically, we have no travel time, not even a half
Yes.
hour respite from the responsibilities. That's the danger. I think we need to put some breathing space in between our Zoom calls. We can't have
Agreed.
half-hour segments. I think we have to have like, half-hour meeting and then 15 minutes where you just do nothing, and then another one.
Yes.
Because what you schedule it like that, by the end of the day, you haven't stopped talking for like 10
Yeah.
hours straight,
Yeah.
and you get a bit cross-eyed like that. So that's Zoom
And
fatigue, real thing.
you get Zoom fatigue, you get a little bit lost. Like, who am I talking to now? Because it's all, we don't have the reset of the physical, going to the physical location of these meetings. So,
That's it.
you're in the same t-shirt, you're in the same room, you're staring at the same laptop, and I'm like, where am I now? Who am I talking to
Exactly.
now?
Yeah, and like, what's this meeting about? Oh, yeah, totally. But you're right, Lisa. The flunge. I've missed doing the flunge. I've sort of haven't done a flunge in a long time because same place, still here.
When you get out, I'm sure flunging in your room, I'm sure you still do it.
Flunge with me, everyone. Okay, now look at your rock horns. You praise the holy gods of rock, and this one is out there, and you just bending down, and this is just saying, we shall overcome this, and we shall pass. This too
Yes.
shall pass.
Amen to that, brother.
So if we're going to flunge this coronavirus out of existence.
All right, big. So we're gonna go into the rundown, right? Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna ask you 10 quick questions.
Cool.
First thing that comes into your head. All right.
All right. All right.
All right. Let's. All right. First question. What is your favorite word?
Love.
Amen to that. Okay. What is your least favorite word?
Hate.
Okay. Yeah. What turns you on?
Passion.
And what turns you off?
Dishonesty.
Yes. What sound or noise do you love?
Birds.
Birds. Birds chirping. Ah. What sound or noise do you? Okay. Do you want to explain that? Why you love the birds chirping?
Um, Here in my mom and dad's place where I'm staying, my job in the morning is to put the bird seed out in the garden, and the rainbow
Oh,
lorikeets, the most incredibly beautifully colored bird parrots, they come flying in and they fill the sound of the backyard with all these amazing birds. These crested pigeons, these lorikeets, these cockatoos. They fly in, and it becomes a cacophony of just bliss, and it's just, you stand there in the middle of this and you hear this in stereo, and it just takes your breath away.
that's beautiful. All right. What sound or noise do you hate?
The dentist drill.
I'm with you there, man. I'm with. That's the
Yeah,
worst.
and that slight sort of where they miss and you go.
Stop! Please stop!
Yeah, I was doing this.
That's the worst. That's worse than nails on a chalkboard.
Oh
The
yeah, that's
dentist drill.
the worst. Yeah.
Because you know what? You know there's pain involved. Like at least with nails on a chalkboard, that's just nails on a chalkboard. When you
Yeah.
hear a dentist drill,
You
immediately you're in the dentist chair
know,
and pain is coming.
it's high pitched too. It's just awful. Everything about it is awful. Unless they give you the gas, and then it's a different vibe. But
Oh, yeah, gas is always good. Gas is always good. Laughing gas, even when you're not in the dentist chair, laughing gas is always good. All right.
Jack for
What
that.
is your favorite shower song?
Oh God.
What do you sing in the shower, Ming? Don't be embarrassed. Even if it's Barry Manilow, we'll still love you.
The shower is on. The shower is on.
Okay. All right. Question number 8. What habit or behavior annoys you the most?
Littering. Littering.
Ah,
Making, like, throwing things. There's a garbage bin like 3 feet away. Just put it in the bin. Why? Why? Well,
why? Exactly. It's right there.
it's right there.
True. True. Okay. If you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would that artist be?
Prince.
Oh, damn.
I say that though, but I probably would be so intimidated that I probably would be just sitting in the corner, just going, mm-hmm. That would be my collaboration, and he'll just think, okay, that was a waste of time. But yeah, I
Prince.
never got to see him live. That's the thing. I never got to see him play live.
Fantastic live. I got to see him live in Wembley.
Oh,
When I was with my sister in Miss Saigon, I wasn't doing anything. I was there as her chaperone. So the first night I went to Wembley Arena, saw the Rolling Stones. The
wow.
next night, I went to Wembley Stadium and saw Prince.
Wow.
Changed my life. I mean, this guy, he's such a tiny guy, but when you see him on stage, he's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
His talent,
I don't
passion.
think I don't think you would be in the corner going hee with Prince. I think you'd be like, so what's up, mate? Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do
No,
something here.
I would be trying to soak as much as I can out of that guy. Like,
Right?
how do you do that? What did you? Oh, yeah, yeah. It would be awesome. It'd be fun. But yeah, it would
Prince.
be crazy.
Yeah. All right. When you get to heaven, which is gonna be a long time from now, but when you do get to heaven, what do you want God to say to you?
Too early. No. Uh. I'm proud of you.
Yes. Yes.
Proud
That
of you.
would be the best thing. All right, one for the road, Mig.
All
What
right.
words of wisdom or advice would you give to any artist just starting out in music or performing?
Join the Air Force.
Don't be a musician.
No, no, no. You got to do it for the love. You just got to do it for the love. If you stop doing it for the love, then stop doing it. Yeah, it's got to be for the love, because if you keep on doing it for the love, then you will find the passion, and if we find the passion will find you. And so you just got to do it for the love. If you don't, no, with no aspirations other than the fact that you just suddenly rock and roll and you like it.
There you go. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
All right, last call. Last call.
All right.
Having had so many achievements, Mig, what would you want to be most remembered for?
With all my achievements already.
If if people
Mm.
mention years from now, you know, people
Mm.
mention your name, what would
Okay.
be the one thing that you would like them to say?
Oh God, good question. Good question, Jamie Wilson. Um, I just think that they would like to. I would like them to continue to say that he did his best in every possible situation. That he did the very best he could with the limited resources that he had. He did the best. Yeah, all that anyone could ask for me, and I try. I really try. Sometimes I try
Yes.
too hard, but I try to give my best all the time.
And hey, man, you are the best. That's why we love you, baby. What's
Tough,
next for you? What's next for you, Mig?
dude. I just got to get past this stage, like everybody else. I'm gonna get a vaccine. I'll get 2 jabs of the vaccine, and then I'll let you know. But for
All
now,
right.
until then, I'm going to continue going on Zoom, continue working with Song Division. I'm going to continue doing some collabs. You and I have to do a collaboration video.
Yes, we do.
We
Yes,
were
we
meant
do.
to do something, and I just couldn't get around doing it because it's crazy busy. but we'll have to free some time to do that. I want to do some more stuff. I want to do some fun things. I want to do some fun things. Actually, do things that are just purely for the sake of it. And once we get into the flow, now that I know what's expected of me, and life is too short. Life is too short, and you can't wait for life to. We'll start again when this pandemic is over. This is life. This is now. So we got to
Yes.
enjoy this now. And I haven't been. I have been a little bit too within myself, a bit too like trying to just navigate myself through the swamp. But I've got to learn how to just also chill and do things for the love. So I've got a little project too I've been working on. Um,
All right.
there's a project, a film project, a couple of film projects that are actually one called Cebu, um, and it's a book by a Filipino novelist living in Seattle. He's an amazing artist himself, a professor at the um, university. I'm being booked as writing the soundtrack for this film. So I've done a couple of songs already for this film, put a little something together. We're putting some materials for that, which is great. There's another um, film project called Payback in Manila. It's like a
Ah,
Ocean's 11 set in casinos, but in the new casinos of Manila, like Resorts World and what's the other ones? The um,
Soler and
Blair.
Okada.
Yeah, those things, those ones. So it's
Dude,
set.
I have to get in on that because if there's a heist film with you in it, I've got to
Dude,
be part of that team, man.
you will be part of this. You will be part of this. And we're working on that. We just did a little Zoom reading on that, and it was great. A Zoom reading, we had John Briones play the lead in that.
Yes,
It was really
yes.
cool, and I was very excited to be working with him. I'm a huge fan of his. And Natalie Mendoza and Rachel Alejandro was also in it too. So we had a cast of really great cast of also very talented Filipino and American actors involved. And also there is a workshop that I've been doing online too for a new musical called Helter Skelter,
Ah,
and it's about that Charles Manson story, history, and everything like that. And I've been playing the part of Charles Manson, so it's been a very interesting project, and it's brand new, written by these people in London. The composer is American in New York, and it's very period. It's awesome, set in the time zone. It's great. I'm very excited about this. So we're still in the writing stage of that, but and also working on that other album, that new album. We'll get that done. So there's a lot. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to
there's a
do.
lot. There's a lot on your plate, but remember, as you yourself said, you got to take a time out to disengage and do some things for the love of.
That's
So
right.
take some time, breathe in the air, enjoy putting out the bird seed there,
That's it.
with all the birds coming to you. Enjoy
Uh,
the company of your family now.
well,
And I
yeah.
can't, Mig, I can't thank you enough for saying yes to
Dude.
coming on the show. Thank you so much. I miss you.
I miss
Uh,
you too, Jamie. This has been such a pleasure, such a joy. I even forget that there are actually people listening because we've been
I
blabbing.
know we're
I am
talking
so
about the
sorry.
phone.
I realized I looked to the right and there's people like, "What are you guys talking about?" I mean, I think we got lost a couple of times talking about things that people. Wait, yeah, sorry for boring or anything, but I'll read these comments. But thank you for joining us. Even Tony Tally's there. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Tina,
Tony's asking
Mary Beth.
one flunch for the road.
There you go. That's for you. I want
There
to see
you
you guys. Send
go.
me a flunge, guys. Gold, thank you. Alec, we're going very quickly through this. Raya, Veronica, Tony, thank you for listening. Lisa Sargent, MMA, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you guys being such supports. Stay safe, everyone. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Don't touch your
Yes,
face.
yes.
Don't
And of
storm. Don't storm Capitol Hill.
and keep on spreading the love and keep on being positive and keep on hoping because there's light at the end of the tunnel where we're
It
going.
is. It is.
Thank you so much, Mig. I love you, man, and I hope to see you soon.
You know it's
Thank-
gonna happen. Just
Yep. We're gonna make it happen,
We
man.
will. We'll be there. We'll make it, dude.
All right, ladies and
Love
gentlemen,
you.
Mig Ayesa. Thank you, man. I love you,
Take care,
brother.
guys. Love you too. Take care, man.
See, when we were talking, we were discussing this episode. We were gonna be featuring like another band in front, and we said, no, I think Megan, you're gonna have a lot to talk about. And yeah, it's been a couple of hours, and we're just kulang pa actually because there's so many things we haven't seen each other in about maybe a year and a half or 2 years, and it's really amazing that this guy, this amazing, wonderful person who is just keeping so busy, you tend to wonder where his energy comes from. And that's really from the passion, and that's from the dedication to his craft. And, just I think a naturally inquisitive spirit that wants to try everything. And as he said, as an answer to one of my questions, he did the best he can. And he's seeking out every opportunity, even creating opportunities to do the best he can in certain situations. And I think if there's any example that can lead us through these dark days, that would be it. The ageless rock star, Mig Ayesa, will lead us home somehow. So, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Just a few reminders, from our wonderful friends from liquor.ph. They're giving you the best of Irish whiskeys all month long when you shop for the iconic flavors of the Emerald Isles. Get the best prices on iconic Irish brands like Bushmills, Jameson, Connemara this month at liquor.ph. Of course, guys, you guys at liquor.ph, you guys are totally spoiling me. So thank you so much. I'm going to pour this last shot that I'm taking on the show. I'll probably continue drinking. Thank you for the bottle of Evan Williams. I love this bourbon. It's amazing. Thank you so much to Buenos Dias Panaderia, guys. Whether you're picking up Milo buns or black crinkles or the peanut butter strawberry buns, which I am hoping to get a box of pretty soon. I'm gonna place an order as soon as I get off this call. I hope they're still awake. These guys can really, really give you your sweet fix. So please make sure also to follow their Facebook page and their Instagram page because, the more supporters they get, they've got some good stuff for you. Now, also from offshore, reminding you guys that, the best selling book, Alternate Endings, The Making of the Final Set, The Unmaking of an Era, is still on sale. There are a few copies left. So make sure you get yours because all the tidbits, all the information, about that final set, it's such an amazing book to have. It should be on your shelf if you are a music lover. Also, make sure to keep on listening to June Lupito's new album, Body 3 NMRK. It's still kicking ass, it's still out there. And Eliza Marie is about to release a brand new album and an EP. So make sure to tune in to this new artist who has a really, quite a unique sound. I'm telling you. So I'm quite looking forward to listening to her full length album and that EP because apparently they're two different things. So make sure to follow Offshore Music on their YouTube page, on their Facebook page, on their Instagram page, and check out all the artists that are under their roster because they are amazing. Now, next week, we have a very special guest. He's an amazing photographer to the stars, a man who is a pillar in his industry and who has raised the bar in the visual field. And I'm talking about Raymond Isaac. And he is an amazing photographer. And we're going to be talking about how music is such an integral part of his process. So, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Yep, we've gone over a couple of hours of just chatting. I wish we had more time, but that's what we try to do here. We try to figure out what living a life immersed in music is all about. And it's not just artists or musicians that we follow or that we interview because we all love music. So, music is, one of the greatest things that can keep us together, that can keep us, um, believing, that can heal our souls, that can soothe our hearts. And, thank you for tuning in. So remember, guys, I'm Jamie Wilson. I'm just reminding you guys to stay safe, stay strong, and stay sane as much as you can. Keep on rocking, keep on rolling. And if all else fails, hey man, let the music keep you going. And if you find out that life has got you shaken or stirred or a little mixed up or on the rocks, what matters most is that you take your shot. Cheers, everybody. Good night.